Good day, everyone! I am Shaina B. Makasilig, a third-year B.Ed student at Negros Oriental State University, Shaton Campus. So today, we will be discussing about physical science to earth science. But before that, let me first read our objectives so that you will be guided. So at the end of the lesson, students should be able to define earth science and explain its scope as a scientific study of the earth and its processes. Demonstrate the rock cycle by illustrating and explaining how rocks change over time. Appreciate the importance of earth science in protecting lives and the environment. So now let's know what is earth science. So earth science is the study of our planet and how it works. It helps explain what happens on land, in the water, and in the air. It also explains natural events like earthquakes, volcanoes, typhoons, and floods that can affect people and communities. So earth science combines different areas of study so we can understand more on how earth systems are connected. So learning earth science helps people live safely and understand the environment better. In this lesson, we will exploring the structure of the earth, its major system, the movement of tectonic plates, and the types of rocks and minerals that make up our planet. So by the end, you will see how earth science is not just a subject in school, but it is a way to understand, protect, and live safely on our own planet. So now let's know more about earth science. Are you ready? Earth science focuses on Earth's structure, materials, and how natural processes. It also studies how the Earth changes over time and how natural forces affect the planet. Earth science includes different fields such as geology, meteorology, oceanography, and astronomy. These fields work together to explain how the Earth functions as one system. Through earth science, students, learners will be able to learn why natural events happen and how they affect humans and nature. Let's proceed to the importance of studying Earth's physical system. Studying earth science is important because it helps people understand natural dangers like earthquakes and volcanoes. So scientists use earth science to monitor these events and give warnings to protect lives. It also helps manage natural resources such as water, forests, and lands. Earth science explains environmental problems like climate change, hotter weather, and rising sea levels. With this knowledge, people can make or do better decisions to protect lives and also the property and our environment. So I have here an example of the four importance of studying Earth's physical system, which is what I've talked kanina. So first, understand natural hazard is the example here is predicting earthquakes in Luzon or volcanic eruptions in Mayon volcano. Next is manage natural resources. So I have here, the example here is using groundwater wisely to prevent shortages or protecting forests to prevent landslides. So the third is understand climate change and environmental issues, which is it's very important and crucial for us. So here is the example, explaining why summers are hotter or why sea levels are rising. So next or the last is make informed decisions to protect lives and properties. So the example here is planning houses away from flood prone areas so that we'll be able to become safe from the prone areas. Let's proceed to the major earth system. So major earth system has four major system called earth spheres. And this system work together as one. So first is the lithosphere. So lithosphere is the rocky outer region of earth. And it is composed of the uppermost portion of the upper mantle and the brittle crust. So lithosphere includes land, rocks, soil where people live and grow food. So that is the example of the lithosphere. So next is the atmosphere. The mixture of gases that envelopes Earth is known as the atmosphere. So by giving us air to breathe, protecting us from the sun's harmful ultraviolet or UV radiation, retaining heat to warm the planet, and reducing drastic temperature swings between day and night. So, atmosphere also contributes to the possibility of life. Example here in the atmosphere is winds and storms like typhoons that affect daily life. So, atmosphere also includes air and weather conditions. So, next is the hydrosphere. So, the total amount of water on a planet is called its hydrosphere. So, water that is found on Earth's surface, beneath its surface, and in the atmosphere is referred to as the hydrosphere. So, hydrosphere includes all forms of water on Earth, such as oceans, rivers, and lakes. So, water is important for drinking, farming, fishing, and transformation. So, hydrosphere is really needed in our planet because we people need it the most. These two systems, which is atmosphere and hydrosphere, are connected because weather affects water and water affects weather pattern. So, the last one is the biosphere. The region of the earth that supports life, including the air and the ground, is known as the biosphere. So, biosphere includes all living things such as plants, animals, and humans. The biosphere includes all living things such as plants, animals, and humans living in a forest or a farm or here in our planet. So living things depend on air, water, and land to survive. So Earth system is really interact with one another all the time, anytime. So I have here the for an example, heavy rain from the atmosphere can cause flooding in the hydrosphere, which can damage. So for an example, heavy rain from the atmosphere can cause flooding in the hydrosphere, which can damage plants and animals in the biosphere and wash away soil from the lithosphere. So next, let's move forward to the Earth's interior structure. Earth's interior structure is to understand earthquakes and volcanoes. So it is important to study what is inside the Earth. So the Earth is not solid all the way through. It has different layers inside, and each layer has a role in Earth's processes. So studying the Earth's interiors helps explain why the ground shakes and why magma reaches the surface during volcanic eruption. So I have provided here the picture so that you'll be able to understand more about the layers of the Earth. Earth's interior structures have three main layers. So which being mentioned here in the picture. So the crust, mantle, and the outer core or inner core. So let's find it out. So just like I said earlier, the Earth has three main layers called the crust, mantle, and core. So the crust is the outer layer where people live and where the land and oceans are found. So I have here, the example here in crust is the ground we walk on, including continents and ocean floors. So next is the mantle. So the mantle is below the crust and moves slowly, causing earthquakes and volcanoes. So example here is slow movement of mantle material causes earthquakes and volcanoes. So the last one is the core. So the core is the center of the earth and is extremely hot. Example here is the movement of the outer core creates Earth's magnetic field, which protect us from harmful solar radiation. So, the movement of the outer core creates Earth's magnetic field, which protects the planet from harmful rays from the sun. So now let's proceed to the primary and secondary seismic waves. So seismic waves help scientists study earthquakes and the inside of the earth. So P is or the primary waves travel through solids, liquids, and gases which make them move the fastest. So S or the secondary waves can only travel through solids. So for an example here is the scientists discovered that as you can see here in the picture is S or secondary waves cannot pass through the outer core, which shows that the outer core is liquid. So don't forget that primary waves can travel through solids, liquids, and gases. So as you can see here in the picture provided. So by these waves, it also helps scientists to find the location of earthquake epicenters. So the scientists if can identify the location of earthquake epicenter. So now let's move to the plate tectonics. Plate tectonics explain how large pieces of the Earth's crust move slowly over time. These pieces are called tectonic plates and they float on the mantle. So even though the movement is slow, it has a big effect or impact on the Earth. So the movement of tectonic plates causes earthquakes, volcanoes, and mountain formation. So in the Philippines, it happens. The earthquake frequently happens that are caused by moving tectonic plates. So now, let's see these three types of plate movements. There are three types of plate boundaries based on how plates move. These are the three types of plate boundaries. First is the divergent boundaries. So divergent boundaries happen when plates move away from each other and new land is formed. So as you can see here in the picture is nag-move away sila, nagkuan sila, bulag. So next is the convergent boundaries. So it happens when plates move toward each other and create mountains, which is nagtagbo siya. So as you can see here in the picture is gatagbo siya. So like mo create sila og mountains. So next, the last or the third types of plate boundaries is the transform boundaries. So, transform boundaries happens when plates slide past one another, so which can cause strong earthquakes. So now let's move forward to the effects of plate movements. So earthquakes happen when tectonic plates suddenly move or break. This movement releases energy that causes the ground to shake. Strong earthquakes can destroy buildings, roads, and homes. And they can also cause injuries or loss of lives. So earthquakes happen when tectonic plates suddenly move or break. So this movement releases energy that causes the ground to shake. So strong earthquakes can destroy buildings, roads, and homes. And also, they can cause injuries or loss of lives. So here is in the picture, the 1990 Luzon earthquake is an example of how plate tectonics can greatly have a big effect or impact in the communities. So next is the volcanoes. So volcanoes form when magma rises from inside the earth to the surface. Plate movement creates openings where magma can escape. When a volcano erupts, it releases lava, ash, and gases. So volcanic eruption can be dangerous but also help form new land. Mayon volcano is an example of a volcanic form because of tectonic activity. So as you can see here in the picture. So these are effect of plate movements. So, yes. So next is the mountain formation. So mountain formation, when tectonic plates collide and push the land upward, this process happens slowly over many years. So mountains can affect weather, rivers, and human activities. So the one of the example here is the Cordillera Mountains in the Philippines were formed through this kind of plate movement. So because of earthquake or plate tectonics, so naka-form og new mountain, which called Cordillera Mountains here in the Philippines. So now let's proceed to the minerals and rock. Minerals are naturally occurring solid materials with a specific chemical composition. They have properties such as hardness, color, luster, streak, density. These properties help scientists identify different minerals. So minerals are very important and crucial because they are used in making buildings, tools, jewelry, and many everyday objects. So now let's know about the types of rocks. As you can see here in the picture, there are three main types of rocks, which is the igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks. So igneous rocks form when magma or lava cools. So example of this is basalt from lava flows in Mindanao. So next is the sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks form from small pieces of rocks that are pressed together over time. So example of the sedimentary rocks is the sandstone found in river beds. So next is the metamorphic rocks. So metamorphic rocks form when rocks change due to heat and pressure. So example of metamorphic rocks is marble from limestone under the heat. So each type of rocks show how it was formed. So now let's proceed to the rock cycle. The rock cycle explains how rocks change from one type to another over time. So rocks do not stay the same forever. Natural processes such as heat, pressure, and weather cause rocks to change. So the rock cycle shows that the earth is always changing. So now let's proceed to the example of rock cycle. As you can see in the picture, magma first cools the basalt, which is the igneous, and breaks down into sand and forms sandstone, which is the sedimentary. So, which becomes marble under pressure, which is the metamorphic. And the last is which may melt back to magma. So, the cycle is gabalik-balik ra. In conclusion, Earth science is the study of our planet and how its parts work together. So it helps us understand Earth's structure, its major system, lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere, and how changes in one system affects the others. By studying plate tectonics, we learn why earthquakes, volcanoes, and mountains form. And by studying minerals and rocks, we understand the Earth's resources and how they change over time. But most importantly, Earth science teaches us to protect lives, manage resources, and care for the environment. It is not just a school subject, but it is a guide to understand, respect, and live safely in our planet. I have here two inspirational quotes. So according to Albert Einstein, look deep into nature and you will understand everything better. And also here, according to Shiv Seatal, the earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. So these inspirational quotes remind us, or students or learners, to respect our nature and to understand that we humans are part of the earth. So nature teaches valuable lessons, and caring for earth means caring for ourselves and to our future generations. So here is our references. I hope you learned something for today. Keep believing in yourself and always do your very, very best in your exams and the challenges you face in your daily lives. So, thank you for patiently watching and God bless everyone. Bye!